All right, welcome to another episode of the dabbling DIYer. 60 degrees here in North Carolina. We're getting ready for that spring garden season, and we've all seen different ways of gardening on YouTube. We've got raised beds, we've got normal gardening where you are planting in the ground, bucket gardens, raised planter boxes off the ground, you name it. I have tried all of these, and one of the ones that I like the most is a raised planter box that holds potting. A raised, telling you what, we're going to build a box, raised box that will hold 5 planters. My goodness, just a modification of a bucket garden that uses just your regular nursery pots. It looks really nice. It's mobile, so you can move it around if you need to weed eat or mow, and it looks good. And if you're not, wanting to bend over all the time, it's easy on the back. So here is what we're going to use today. Our safety. We're going to have some earplugs, some glasses, something to write with, regular drill bit to drill our pilot holes, countersink bit, any tape measure, drill for drilling our pilot holes, and then a drill for sinking our screws into our wood. If you have a couple clamps, if you're by yourself, this will help you because we don't have 3 arms. I am going to use a miter saw just to make it quick and easy for me, and we need some wood. Alright, so let's get started building these raised potting boxes / buckets, garden bed. What we're going to do first is these are just typical nursery pots. You can buy these. I actually ended up buying out a greenhouse 2 years ago, and I ended up getting over 1,000 of these, so I've been trying to work them away. First thing you want to do is decide how many pots you want to use. And in our case, I'm going to build planters that are 5 pots wide. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to space them out about 1 inch apart. I just want to leave a little gap in between the plants so they're not all in each other. And then we can kind of get our dimensions of what we're wanting to do, okay? So let's grab our tape measure. Now we're not going to have any plans for this. We're going to build this from scratch. Take our tape measure and we measure from the top of the pot all the way over to the other side. We've got 58 inches. So the inside diameter of this box needs to be 58 inches wide, and that's tight. That leaves 1 inch in between. So what we'll do is we'll go 60 inches just to make it a nice even number. And then the width of our box, since these are 10 3/4, the width of the box we're going to do, well, that's the top. The tops are obviously wider. We'll go ahead and just do 12 inches. So the inside diameter of our boxes are going to be 12 inches. The width of our boxes are going to be 60 inches. So let's get these put up. Now we can start cutting our box. So let's run over to the truck, get us a nice straight board. We'll come and we'll get our saw set up and pull our extensions out just to give us a little extra hand. Then what we're going to do is we're going to cut 2 60-inch boards and 2 12-inch boards. Anytime you're working with wood, go ahead and make sure you square up the end before you measure, because a lot of times, as on this board, they are not square. So we're going to square this up and we're going to measure it out. Alright, here's a quick tip. Anytime you're using a miter saw, grab you a trash can, put it under your miter saw, so you don't have to pick all your blocks up off the ground after your project. Alright, now that we squared the end up nice and square, we can go ahead and measure. Another tip, you don't have to stick your tape measure on here. Just take the first block so that you get the exact same size, line it up, mark your next block. Or leave your block on here, line it up, line your blade up, slide your blocks, and then cut your board. Now this one is like or box. Now that we have our two 12-inch boards and our two 16-inch boards, we're going to stick the frame down on the table and we're going to check the fit of our pots. And these fit perfect. Alright, so here is where your clamps come into play. Okay, come down here, do some back. Now that we have got our frame clamped together, we're going to pre-drill pilot holes to keep our wood from splitting. Alright, here's where your countersink bit comes in. This is absolutely optional. You could go ahead and screw these together, but the countersink bit will just help it look a little better. This is a countersink bit, and all it really does is insets the hole a little bit so your screw head will be set inside the wood. All it does is inset that a little bit. Almost forgot something. I don't know how we're going to put it together without some screws. I am using exterior decking screws for this, and I have 2.5-inch screws because these are 1.5-inch boards. You're always forgetting something. We're also going to need a Phillips head bit. Oh, there you are down there. Give me no junk. You know how it is when you need something you can't find it. That's junk. There we go. You're gonna need a Phillips head bit as well. Alright. Now that we've searched half the building for what we actually needed, we will go ahead and screw this bad boy together. I'll grab my other battery here in a minute too, since I can't grab it on my way out. I'm going to put 2 screws in each side. Now that we have completed the frame of the planter box, we are putting a top cap, what we're going to call a top cap on this. And essentially I just 45 degrees on each corner. And we are pre-drilling, countersinking, and we are screwing this top cap down. on. So the way I designed this was your legs will screw to your plate, and it will also come up underneath here. They're going to come down on an angle, kind of like an L. Actually, they're going to come down angle. We're just going to put about a 15-degree angle on it. So let me cut one real quick. Now, as far as the height goes, you get to choose that height. I'm 6'3". I want my beds to be sitting up higher, obviously. So what I normally would do or recommend is measure from your waist to the ground. Just take a tape measure, measure from your waist to the ground. So for me to be comfortable, measure to my waist. We're gonna go 3 foot, 15 degrees. So now we have cut our 15 degrees, our outside here, our inside here. Now we're gonna measure, because we want these to be 34.5 inches, because I'm doing 36 inches up to my waist. We want to measure from the outside corner back 34.5 inches. All right, so we left our saw exactly how it was set up. We cut our 15 degrees here, and then we left it set up like it was, cut our 15 degrees here. Now they're going to be parallel. The inside edge of this angle is going to be parallel to the inside edge on this angle. That way it's touching the ground at the right points. So if we set it here, and this is why I like to use a table or something, if we set it up under here, we're going to get our angle to the ground, and it's going to sit on the ground flush. Now if you don't cut this bottom angle, obviously you will have a gap on the left side. Now you can do it like that, but it's a little sturdier. It looks better if you go ahead and cut that angle on it. And now to save yourself some time, instead of flipping the board over, just line your boards up end to end. Come down to the other end, mark. Now this board's going on the left side, so it's going to flare to the left. You'll have to flip the bottom board after you cut it over, and it will flare to the right. Clamp down. It's lined up square with my top, and I have it lined up right to the edge where I want it to cover most of that end grain. So we will drill our pilot holes, screw this down, and we'll do the other side. All right, now we got our legs on both sides. We're going to flip her over and stand her up on the ground. All right, there we have it. So we have a pretty good stance on this. I know you're wondering, no, we're not just going to stick the pots in there and let the rims hold the pots, although it would once you put some soil in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a cross member here and on the other side as well, and then we're going to, now you could just put a bottom in this. Maybe you stick you could screw a 2x4 here, but then your pots would set up. And I like the lids to be down low. So what I'm gonna do is run a cross beam here, and then I'm gonna run a 2x4 on its side for strength, straight to the other side. And basically these pots will sit on that 2x4. And I've done this in the past, with it being as tight as it is at the top, there's no way it will fall through, even once there's soil in it. So let me get these cross members cut and get that 2x4 in. And just a quick tip, you can find this angle. Obviously you want to cut your cross members on the same angle. Should be 15 degrees since that's the angle we're going on. Or you can just lay your board up here, stick a level on top, and then just mark each side and cut it that way. Clear clamps can be your best friend. All right, so we've got our cross braces on, one on this side, one on that side. Our next step is going to be running a 2x4 from this side all the way to the other side on its side. Once you get your 2x4 cut, you're going to run it from stringer to stringer. I just got it sitting in there right now. And screw it down. And that is what holds the weight of your pot. That way you're not rotting out a bunch of boards. You're not spending $10 in boards to fill this bottom in. You just set it on top of that 2x4. It leaves plenty of room for your water to run out. And if you need to replace that 2x4 in a few years, it's $3, $4, well, now it's $8. Used to be $3 or $4 for a 2x4. And that is the design. All right, let me get this finished up, then we'll grab the sander. We'll get it sanded down. And for the final reveal, like I said, it's similar to a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket garden. It's super nice, sturdy. The one that I built 3 years ago, still going strong. And one thing that I really like about it is I like it because it's waist height. I just took a belt sander, sanded it down. There's still some writing on it, but like I said, I kind of like it. The top, I went ahead and sanded them off. The stain will cover this little bit. It's about 5 minutes of sanding. The inside I'm not worried about. Like I said, I kind of like the rusticness, but if you wanted to sand it down completely smooth, of course you could do that as well. You could get rid of all the markings, but for what I'm doing, this is going to be good enough. All right, so let me get this stained real quick. I'm just going to use some exterior stain for the outside and show you what it looks like when I'm done.
Oh, this stuff is drippy.
All right, we have it finished. Looks much redder than it actually is in person.
All right, if you'll just take another minute to watch. I did a time lapse on building one of these. Show you how quickly it can be done when you're not filming.
Thank you for watching another episode of the Dabbling DIY, where we built, how many did I say we were going to build? We built 7.
Yep, we built 7.
So obviously there's more than one design. We did one that'll hold 2 pots here. We did one that'll hold 3 pots here. We did one that'll hold 5, another 5, 4, and then this one's a 6. So you can mix it up. We're gonna finish these tomorrow, sanding them down and staining them. And we built all of these in an afternoon. Keep watching for more videos. What do they need to do?
All you have to do is like and subscribe and hit the notification so you can see more videos.